All right, guys, we're turning into a romantasy only channel starting now. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. And while, no, I probably won't be reading more romantasy, this was actually pretty good. I'm leaving the cover up for a sec because just beautiful cover. The red, the design, the sword, the little like butterflies, really appealing cover. And for some reason they are doing a new one that's much more boring, and I don't understand why. But I specifically mentioned the cover because that is the entire reason that I picked this one up originally. Is I saw Trin. I'll link Trin's channel down below, but I saw I think her post the cover saying she's reading the book, and I'm like, ooh, that looks super cool, and I was interested in it. And she told me that it's not heavy on the romance. It's got cool world building, other stuff going on. Maybe give it a shot. I might actually like it. And so I'm like, you know what? I will give it a shot. And then I checked my library had the audiobook, and so I'm like, yeah, I'll slap this in at some point when I have audio and go from there. So this book is following Tisana, who is a slave, and she was sold into slavery when she was quite young, and lives with a master who like seems to sometimes care for her, but is still like her master. And there's lots of other stuff there too, but we kind of explore that deeper as we go along. But she also is a magic user, and she's like an imperfect magic user. Apparently, you like albino if you're fully magical, but she has some models where she's not 100% pure. But that increased her value as a slave as well. And then she ends up, and this is part of the premise, so not a spoiler, but if you don't want to know anything, fair warning. But she ends up killing her master and escaping, going off to the place where the magic users are. And then we have our other character, Max, who has sort of also has a tortured past, but is the person who's going to end up having to be the one to apprentice her because there's nobody else available. And then we kind of start from there. Naturally, those are our two main characters. That's kind of who the romance is going to be through. But I will say, the elements are definitely there, but this did not actually feel like a romance or even like a romantasy book to me, to be perfectly honest. Um, there were some of those elements, but it was more so like just an element of the story instead of the focus of the story, and that was the first thing that really surprised me. This is really a fantasy story with, once you get quite a ways in, a definitely a important romantic subplot that is very important. But this wasn't like a romance book that has some fantasy elements, which is, I feel like, at least for me, what I think about when I think of like romantasy, on some of the stuff that's popular with it, and whether or not that's correct. This really though is different than that, and it focuses a lot. This is very character focused on Tisana and Max, the two characters dealing with their pasts. We get to see obviously a lot more of Tisana early on. We do get some POVs from Max much later in the book, and then we end up learning more about his past and what actually happened there. Although we just get hints, but it's these characters that have a lot of trauma and dealing with it, and then being embroiled in the big kind of political machinations that are going on with the magic users as well, and the conflicts between these different countries also in the setup there. I think the thing too is this feels like it could have, with the same elements, this could have very easily been written to really lean into not only the romance elements, but the sort of like darker elements with abuse. And it's like, our main character is a slave girl who was bought, and there's obviously some dark things that go on to that, and we don't really show a lot of that. We kind of skip past a lot of those things initially, and then things are more mentioned later, just to really give you the depth. Like, yeah, know exactly what you thought did happen, but we're not like dwelling in that or really digging into a lot of those elements, which is, I think, for me, is something I find preferable, because if we would have just been dealing with a ton of that and having that, I probably would not have been enjoying this as much. But that sort of fast forward is also something that is used quite a lot in the book, and I'm so torn on it, because I think it's something that if we would have spent more time on a lot of things, I don't know if I would have enjoyed the book as much. But at the same time, I tend to like books that slow down, show more of the world, do this kind of stuff, and this is quite quick paced, while also kind of not being. And so that's where I'm going to explain this. So an example of this is when we're sat and we're focused and we're telling the narrative, it doesn't feel like it's moving like blisteringly fast reading. It feels like it's very just normal paced. But then like so our character is going to travel, we skip the entire travel, and it's like weeks have passed, we're just skipping over that, and we'll jump kind of forward, not like big time jumps, but just like, oh, for the last couple months, they were just working on doing this, and we're just going to skip past that. And so we do that quite a bit in order to move the story along. And then yet the moments where we are with the characters, sometimes there'll be passages where it's nice and slowly developing things. And so it's such an interesting balance, because it doesn't feel like it's like too fast paced, because when we're actually going, the pacing is fine. It's just the jumps, which I think overall make it quicker paced, but the actual writing doesn't feel like it's rushing in any way either. But I do feel like there definitely were some times where we could have seen more. Like, I know we would have learned more about the world, or as we're traveling, seen more stuff there, and some other elements as well too, that I think for me I would have liked to spend a little bit more time there with the world building elements. Granted, I'm the world building focused reader, so naturally that's going to be my complaint, is I wanted more of that. You do get a fair bit of it. I think the magic and the way that it works is also interesting, because it is left pretty soft with what you can actually do. We find out bits and pieces of like different disciplines, different people have different specialties and power, and we also just get teases of all the more that there could be. And so I think for me, like a little bit more of seeing those things is what I was probably looking for. But at the same time, it's not because it's like, oh, it's just set decoration so we can tell the romance story. It's no, this is, if anything, this is a very plot driven book, and we're moving on with the plot. And the characters are it's still, I feel, very character focused. The characters are developed extremely well, and I think that's also why, because the characters were developed so well, that even when we're doing the bits of the romance, it works so well with those characters that it just felt almost like more character development and a natural progression of the arc. It didn't feel like it was just kind of thrown in there to do it. But we find out a lot of things sort of on the fly, which can be good. But and this wasn't like a crazy short book either, so I feel weird complaining about that. But I feel like this was a bit more plot driven than I typically prefer. And again, though, when that's kind of my complaints are, it wasn't my style, and I was expecting it to be very different types of complaints with this. I think it works out well, and the hints of just the broader world, the things that we don't know about what could happen after this, I think is interesting. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to continue this series, but I am curious. And it's just, this is an author too that I'd seen some of her books around, and I thought the books never really sounded like they were for me. But I'm more curious now, just because this was well written and had a lot of good elements. And I think people who like plot driven stuff, they don't want to get bogged down in the details. This is definitely going to be a book I think is worth checking out, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff there, but we're also just moving, and we're getting where we're going, and we're not just spinning our wheels or taking time to do all the kind of things, or to smell the roses. I'm going to make a joke, which if you've read the book, you'll totally get that. But yeah, so overall, for me, I think this was solid. It wasn't something that was super well suited to my tastes as far as the storytelling style, but it's something that I quite enjoyed and I found very engaging. And I liked the characters. I thought the world was interesting, and this was, I mean, like I said, this was a really solid read. I had no expectations for this going in. I didn't know if it was going to be something that I ended up really not liking, or I ended up really liking. So went in completely no expectations, and I enjoyed this. I may have to try out the next book. I think at least the next book is out, and I may have to try some more from this author, just because this was kind of a nice surprise to come in and have fun with. But overall, though, those are my thoughts on Daughter of No Worlds, just for the heck of it, too. I'll put up that cover, because that's just an eye-catching cover. I like the cover, and shame on you for doing a new cover, whichever publisher made that decision. But anyway, that's it for this one. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description, as always, for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizard of the Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.